like, all right, my body's been beat up enough in life. I'm going to do something different. And I think, from my perspective, I could see that becoming a growing trend in the league. And that's another thing that's going to scare the league. If now what you're talking about is the numbers decreasing in Pee Wee football from the younger ages, but then people are still not playing as long on the back end, you may find yourself in a situation. We talked about it one time, Rob, the ghettoization of the sport, and people don't freak out, because people hear words like ghetto, like, what is he talking about? Basically, all it means is that the sport will continue to survive, but the more affluent parts of the country, of the society, won't choose to partake in it anymore. And you have to look no further than the sport of boxing. At one point, prize fighting was really that. It was prize people, like in prep schools. They did it at PE. People box. And then, rich white people found out, wait a minute, it's probably not smart for me to have my kid getting punched in the head during third period. Then they stopped. How many of these, how many in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, you can answer this, Rob, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, how many prominent white fighters do you see in boxing?
None.
Yeah, I see a bunch of Hispanics and black dudes.
No, I mean, when you talk about white Americans, none. You got a lot of, you got a good number of European, Caucasian boxers. I mean, with the likes of guys that, like Ricky Hatton was a champion boxer out of Britain. But even
wait, that's a white dude?
Guys are black. Yeah, Ricky Hatton, yeah. That's the one that Floyd.
I've heard that name.
Man, they both knocked him out.
I've heard that name so many times. I just assumed it was a black guy.
Nah, he's a white guy. But when you look through the landscape, yeah, I mean, it's majority Hispanic. I mean, you got Mexicans, and you got the Spaniards and the Europeans, and but the majority of American boxers are African American.
Yeah, and understand this.
Not a lot of white guys.
It's not really. It's far less a race thing and more of a socioeconomic thing. You know what I mean? Because even out of the white guys, you're going to see You're going to see poorer white people in a sport like boxing or like MMA. You're not going to see like no dude that has a choice to become an engineer or a boxer say, you know what, I'm going to be a boxer. No. He's going to go to Georgia Tech and become an engineer.
A heck of an engineer.
Right. So it's more of a socioeconomic thing, and taking it back to football, same thing. There's going to always be kids in the hoods of Miami and of Atlanta and LA and in these inner cities that, let's keep it real. Mom is first thing they're going to do is say, you know what? You need to be tougher, son. Dad's not here. You're going to go play football. And that's going to always be there. But there is going to be a certain, you can anticipate a certain decline in the quality of the sport at that point, because you see where boxing is now. Just holding on. Like this 5-year-old, 6-year-old fight is the thing that's kind of like everyone's like cleaving to and holding on to. Like, please make it good. Please make it good. Like the worst thing in the world that could happen. I asked you what the best thing would be. The worst thing in the world could happen if Floyd like knocks this dude out in the third round. Worst thing in the world for boxing.
Yeah.
It'll
be terrible for boxing.
That's the girl you've been waiting to get some from, and she's terrible.
Right. Can't do nothing.
She is terrible.
On the back. Look, now I'm gonna tell you what a lot of folks need to be looking out for, and I'll let you get back to what you were saying.
Nah, go ahead.
Was the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder, who is he owns the only half of the heavyweight championship that the Klitschko doesn't have, and he is I want to say he's like 30-0 or 27-0 or something like that. Black guy, 6'7". I mean, he's the truth, man. So I think after this whole Floyd thing kind of goes away, I think that boxing fans are going to be really, really, really impressed with Deontay Wilder and what he's gonna bring to the sport of boxing. He's one of Don King's guys, if I'm not mistaken.
The heavyweight.
Yeah, heavyweight champ. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He owns the the one piece of the belt that the remaining Klitschko doesn't hold.
You did say that. Okay. Yeah. All right. And to be honest, just on the outside looking in, as a novice, that's definitely something that American boxing needs. They need a heavyweight champion. I mean, Floyd is cool and all that, but the sport is never as recognizable to me worldwide as when the heavyweight champion is an American.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, because the heavyweight division, when you have a big-time heavyweight division, then everything else is better. I mean, because when you look at, like, the middleweight, when Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns and all those guys were fighting, the heavyweight division was prominent. It was still prominent, so it kind of made everything else, it kind of helped everything else be big. So, back to your social economic conversation.
No, I was done with it. I was done. I was done with that part. It was just about the early retirements that we're seeing right now, and how much I just hated to see this art. And I need, what I need to do as well. I need to make sure I credit the young lady who wrote this article for USA Today. I don't want to be that guy. What the hell is happening? Why is it not coming up? I'll do it here in a second. I'll go through the rest of these NFL.
But just let me chime in on that really quick. Just the football thing. And we've had this conversation. It's one of these things where with football, you see so much, you hear so much. And for those that have never seen the documentary, Big Hits, Broken Dreams, the documentary that Dr. Sanjay Gupta did, you see that these things start happening so early. It's not college. It's not the professional ranks. It's like junior high, high school, and because we both seen the documentary. Right. You see these kids having these traumatic brain injuries, at such an early age that one kid, I think he played quarterback. The doctor told him that he could never play football again, and he was 17, and was told that he could never play again. And when parents start to see that kind of stuff and start hearing about that kind of stuff, it's very easy for them to start looking at other options. The ones that can afford it. Because of course the ones that can afford it, they're sending their kids to play baseball. Right. In a lot of situations. And
the thing about the kids, getting these early concussions, again, this is why we have to be educated as to far and not let other people educate us. It's not necessarily the concussion itself. It's that second concussion syndrome. It's the fact that a kid got a concussion and then the next day he was back at practice getting hit again. Or a kid gets a concussion and someone says, how many fingers am I holding up? And he goes right back in the game. That can't happen. It's your brain. It needs time. And that's what we're finding out now. So this whole narrative of, we're trying to keep the game cleaner and make the hit safer. You can't. It's a 290-pound dude running full speed into a 250-pound dude. Guess what's going to happen? Your brain is going to rattle around in your head. When those two forces combine, things are going to start rattling around. The problem becomes when it happens before it gets a chance to heal from the first time. Yeah, the NFL is full of propaganda and stupidity.
I don't know if you remember Jamal Lewis telling us that he remembers having at least 7 serious concussions when he was in high school, and that didn't even include Tennessee or in the NFL.
Right. Yeah, it's becoming so well known. The young lady's name from the USA Today, her article is called "Why Early Player Retirement Makes Sense." Her name is Lindsey Jones. If you want to check that out. It's becoming so much of a common thing just in regular conversation. Like, again, my old lady does statistics. She's like a statistics analysis. She does statistics analysis for the state of Georgia as far as the early Head Start programs and things like that for kids and all that kind of stuff, right? So they have to learn about kids with behavior problems and like mental disabilities and all that kind of stuff. And so we're watching the combine. She's asking me about these kids. She's like, "Are all these college kids?" I said, "Well, for lack of a better word, yeah, they kind of are, but not anymore." And she was like, "So most of them are like, in in their early 20s. And I was like, yeah, I didn't know where she was going with it. She's like, most of them in their early 20s. She's like, yeah, we just did this training the other day at my job. And do you realize that until the age of 25, your frontal cortex isn't fully developed yet, and these dudes are taking these headshots. Yeah, and it's because we've had these conversations. Because we had these conversations about the what I talked about the other day, the domestic violence thing and how it's linked to head injuries. So because of our conversation, that kind of it kind of rang when she heard that. It rang to her in her mind. And harken back to the conversation that we had, and so now people like my old lady don't care about no football, right? But it's becoming such a common thing for just the average person that everyone knows about this head injury situation, and that is going to pose such a problem for this machine that's called the NFL. That's worst case scenario. I said it the other day. They don't care about nobody beating on no woman. And my proof is because a man murdered his old lady in the house where his mama and his baby was, and no one ran a PSA about Jack. It was 2 years later when Ray Rice punched his woman in the hotel room, and people started hollering out, "What? 2 games? That's not enough." Yeah, I asked the same question: how many is enough to punch your woman? Like, what's the threshold? Like, is 3 enough for you? That make you feel better about him punching her? Or, because I guess inevitably you got what you want.
But it's a lot. It's just so many that have been swept under the rug. I mean, I can remember right here in Atlanta before Michael Turner and the Falcons played the Arizona Cardinals in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Michael Turner was involved in a domestic situation where his baby mama came to the house, and his girlfriend was there, and some kind of way he ended up, from what the report said, what the baby mama said, he held her, and the girlfriend hit her with a golf club, and he never got in trouble. I mean, Arthur Blank showed up on the scene, and he played like 2 days later.
Yeah, that's pretty much all bad.
A lot of times these things just go away.
Yeah, well, they did.
Historically.
Yeah, they did. But now, Ray Rice only got 2 games. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's enough or too much, or I don't know what it is. But the fact that no one ever said it should be this many, because now it's forever. Like I told you the other day, Ray Rice ain't gonna play no more football. He just hit Baltimore for another $1.5 million in court the other day. Did you hear that? For wrongful termination. Like, good for you, Ray. I mean, get all the money you can now because it's over. The whole football deal is done for you. And you have no one to blame but yourself. You knocked your woman unconscious with a left hook or right, whatever it was. Like, I only saw that video one time. You know that?
It was clean, boy.
I saw that video one time. I felt no need to watch it any more than that. Like, I saw it. It was exactly, well, not exactly, because the initial report was that it was an uppercut. So that's a different kind of a stroke, but same result. So after you see a dude knock a woman out, I just didn't really feel the need to watch it or see it any more than that. They're like, all right, I get the gist of it. What happened? Not even the gist. I saw exactly what happened. So, but when it's all said and done, I don't know. I guess the people who wanted more, they got exactly what they wanted. He'll no longer be able to make a living playing football anymore. The entire NFL, like Ray Rice was one of those dudes that was like always in the running for like man of the year in the NFL. Now he is a pariah.
Right.
And it just goes to show, man, like poor decision making. Poor decision making, and a 5-second blurb can change the course of your life forever and ever. Because if you're a woman, think about it this way, Rob. If you're a woman, how much better off do you think this woman is now with her husband not making any money?
Not.
You dig what I'm saying? So why you?
I mean, especially when you look at everything that she went through. They got married.
Yeah.
She released a statement saying, "It was all my fault. I'm the reason that he hit me. It was all my fault. I take responsibility for what happened."
That didn't help him either. Well, her saying that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, she was doing everything possible to get that dude back out on the football field to get them checks.
Yeah, man.
Now they stuck with $3 million. That's $3 million that he's gotten over the past few weeks. Yeah. So hopefully he's been prudent and saved some money. You know, or we'll be hearing about him and Janae, you know, in divorce court.
Irreconcilable differences.
Yeah,
at this
no
point,
way.